Good day and welcome to Code Escuela. In this session, we will talk about comparison operators. Comparison operators are used for comparing values such as numbers or strings. Let's jump into some code and see what these operators are. Okay, with C#, we have several supported operators. First one is equal or equals. So an equal operator is two equal signs, okay, or symbols or characters. Next would be not equal. So in this case, the actual character for that is like this, not equal. But in this, within Visual Studio, they have a different form of character which is represented like this. But in reality, it is like this. Okay, uh, exclamation character and then an equal. Okay, which means not equal. Next, we have the greater than operator. So with this kind of character, and then its complementary operator, the greater than or equal. So in this one, it has this single character, but in actual uh, characters, it would be like this, greater than or equal. Okay, because if you notice, if I do that, if I type this one, it would be like this, equal, greater than, and equal. But then again, Visual Studio would convert it into this form of character. Okay, next we have less than with this kind of character or symbol, and then its complementary operator is less than or equal. And again, in actual representation, it's like this, less than or equal. Okay, now let's look up some examples of how these operators would work. Okay, so we have several declarations here of variables that I have declared, and then you have also one with this so that we can compare values. Okay, so basically we have val1 and val2 of type integer, just to make the example simple. Okay, first one is we are using the equal operator, which means if these two variables have the same value, then the expected return value of it or the result of it would be a true Boolean value. Okay, next we have example for not equal, so using the symbol not equal, and then again, if this is true, then it would result in true. Okay, so let's see, this one should result in false since 1 is not equal to 2. Then this would result into true since val 1 is indeed not equal to 2. Next we have this greater than operator. Okay, so it's greater than, which means that the expected result for this is false because 1 is not greater than the 2 value. Okay, next is greater than or equal. Now you have this one would match two values. Okay, it could either be greater than or equal values. Okay, so in this case, it would result into false value since val1 is not greater than val2 and also not greater than not equal to 2. Okay, next up is the less than operator. So we have here is val1 is less than val2, which means this would result into a false value. Okay, and then the last one would be less than or equal to. Again, this would result into a false since 1 is less than 2. Okay, or if the two values being compared are equal, it would still match. Okay, or would result into true. Okay, now let us run this to see the results of these operators. You can press F5 on your keyboard or just click on the play button, and then yeah, it should compile, build and compile, and hopefully it would run. So that it should not take long enough. And okay, so now here we have our output. Okay. Okay, something is wrong. I have not switched to the arithmetic operators project. Okay, so let's I have not switched to the comparison operators. I still have the default startup project into the arithmetic operators, which was the one that we have discussed in a separate video. Okay, let's switch to comparison operators, set a startup project, and then this should run. We should be able to see the results of this. Let's try running again. Right, so now we have the results. Okay, so here we have first is equal. Its output is false because 1 is not equal to 2. Next, not equal to operators, which results in true because 1 is not equal to 2. Next, we have the greater than operator. It resulted in false because 1 is not greater than 2. Next, we have the greater than or equal to operator. Again, it's still false since 1 is not greater than 2. Next, we have the less than operator. It resulted into true since 1 is indeed less than 2. And then we have here less than or equal would still result into true since 1 is less than 2. Okay, so that would be the result of these operators. Okay, now one thing that you could use these comparison operators is within a conditional statement. So we have here one example. Let's focus here, starting at line 33. So I've set val1 into a different value, which is 2. And now let's see what would be the use of this. So we have here the if statement, and then we use our expression val is equal to 2. Now, what do you think would be the result of this? So now we have set val1 into 2. Initially it was 1 here, and so now this expression should result into true, which would mean that it would execute this body of code, okay, instead of this one. Right, let's try running this. Let's comment out this other right lines first so that we don't get confused, and then let's try running it. Okay, now we have here the result. So the output would be val1 is equal to val2 is equal, which means that it had executed this line of code. Okay, now if we modify the value, it set it into like 0 or any other value aside from 2, then it should execute this one, since this if statement has an else, which would result in like default action. Okay, so let's save this and run this again. And here we have the output that says val1 is equal to val2 is not equal, which is true. Okay, or the default execution or output, right? So yeah, I think this is pretty much all of the comparison operators. This session has been all about comparison operators. Thank you for joining us in this learning, and see you in the next session.